I've got to actually, yeah, I've got to know how you enjoyed it because it seems like you enjoyed it a lot.
I think for me, Dick Tracy.
Close your eyes and make it.
Oh yeah. So we are doing. We're not going to watch it right now, but
You're a real Dick Tracy.
We're going to talk about the comic versus the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Drew, this was your first time watching the movie.
Yeah.
I've got to actually, yeah, I've got to know how you enjoyed it because it seems like you enjoyed it a lot.
I think for me, if I had to give like a review, I have two. Here's my both reviews. The comic, I had real mixed feelings about, but I think it's because I'm looking at it in a modern context. I have to remember at that time, this stuff was pretty cutting edge.
Well, yeah,
this was that
I had to
time.
keep remind myself of the difference in just the vernacular of how people even spoke.
Yeah, it was so wordy. Like I felt dumb reading it because I'm like I was like, all right, we got it. Like, oh my God, Tracy, I can't believe that you would leave that corporeous corpse out there in the rain to rot away like a vegetable. No. I'm just like, oh my God, can you just get to the punching?
Well, that's the crazy part. People die in this comic.
I know.
And
like it was crazy. And then it's funny because I actually read because I read a couple of issues and I just couldn't do much more of it. I was like, oh God, like I'm pushing myself hard to read, and I was just like, I'm bored. So then I read a modern retelling that the Allreds, that would be Mike Allred and his wife, did for Image, I believe. It was Image or Dark Horse. I'm not really sure which one. I think it was Image. In 2018, that was Dick Tracy, Dead or Alive. So it kind of had some of the same characters. So I got to really understand them. But it was a little bit more modern, like their phones and stuff. But it still had that old school charm. He still had the coat and the watch. I liked that. That one kept my attention a little bit more. But the movie, I was like, why do people not talk about this more often? Like, this is actually a really great, in my opinion, I thought it was a really great adaptation. What caught me was the visuals. I was like, the attention to detail in the movie was beautiful. And again, I did the research. I know that this is one of the few last times that they used paintings for background. Because after that, they started using CGI. So, I mean, you look at that, like, oh my God, it's beautiful. I thought the attention to detail was great. I like Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy, just a detective who really loves his job, sometimes a little too much. But the thing for me was, oh my God, like how grotesque they made some of these gangsters. Like it was really brought to life, right down to lips sucking on oysters. I was like, my God, like how do you kiss somebody? Do you eat them? Like,
I
and then
right there, yeah.
Even like and then the cameos killed me. Like Pacino being Big Boy and all the prosthetics he wore killed me.
Mumbles, oh my God, I love
Mumbles. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman is Mumbles, which he did as a favor to Warren Beatty. So I saw all this star power, and I was just thinking to myself, man, how many favors did this guy? People owe this guy, like Jesus. But what really tripped me up was the actor who plays the kid there. That's the same kid who played Jack in Hook. And it was, Hook. And it was also one of the many in the extremely popular teen comedy, Can't Hardly Wait. And then he eventually quit acting, and now he's like a lawyer with a degree in, what was it, Carrie? Degree in physics?
He is an assistant professor of law and the U.S. director of the Canada U.S. Law Institute in the Case Western Reserve University School of Law. There you go. Courses in corporate law, corporate finance, and torts.
Right. So I just
got
blew
degrees
me away
from Yale and MIT in physics and law.
But yeah, I just loved it, especially even Madonna as Breathless Mahoney. I thought she was fantastic. And I even learned that Sondheim wrote the songs in the movie. I was like, no wonder they were so fucking catchy. Even when they're sung by Mandy Patinkin, who I was like, yo, like the star power in this. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was just a silly comic book adaptation that I felt really captured the essence of the character very well. Is it perfect? No, but visually gorgeous. And I was like, it was dumb fun. You know, kids now would have no idea who the fuck this guy is. They'd be like, what's this Sin City looking motherfucker? You know?
That's what my kid said.
You know? Because I was like, oh, look, it's the Spirit, but without a mask and in yellow. So, you know?
Yeah, they were nominated for Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor with Al Pacino, Best Art Direction, which they won, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, they were nominated, Best Makeup, they won, Best Original Song, Sooner or Later I Always Get My Man by Stephen Sondheim, they won, and Best Sound. And
I don't know you guys knew this, but Scorsese was supposed to direct this. And he was supposed to direct it, he was going to do it all serious, but the reason he walked is that they wouldn't give him final cut privilege.
Good for him.
So like I said, that was my review. Comic, if you find the right version for you, great. The movie, I thoroughly enjoyed. I don't know if I would own it, but definitely in terms of adaptations, I thought this was probably one of the more faithful ones. So that's Drew's review. Everybody else talk.
Well, I'm right with you for the comic. I'm like, if you find the right one, I finally found where the kids introduced Junior is introduced in the comic, and that was a pretty decent story. And also I read some of Flat Top's introduction into the story as well. What was wild is I never got to any part in anything I read where he was wearing the watch and stuff. I'm just like, where's all these cool tech gadgets and stuff, Dick?
I think they started including that, Jeremy, a little later in the 40s to if not early 50s. That's when they started doing more of the two-way radio and the call things and all that jazz. So it was definitely later on in his career. But
in the movie, I'll give you everything. The art was beautiful. Like looking at the different backgrounds and stuff, and there's movement going on still. That and it's all like not CGI, which is beautiful, especially the makeup too on some of these people. Incredible, but good Lord. Cheesy as could be was this movie. It should have just been called Dick Cheese.
Dick Cheddar.
Dick Cheddar.
Don't Google that, anyone.
Like when I just couldn't find where anybody got their motivation from. Even like Mumbles, like when he gave up Big Boy and it's over a glass of water. They're like gonna make you sweat under the lights, and he's so.
I loved how they caught him in that, and how much he was because you're just like, oh, he's just, and he was just saying that, you know, you can actually understand. He actually is saying something. He's not just.
I could have just seen this as a Mystery Science Theater thing, like totally just in there with a few friends busting chops throughout the whole thing. I wish I had you guys like here sitting watching with me, so we could have just been like blah 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 blah. Yeah, Tracy.
I was still dealing with how many cameos of celebrities. Like at one point, I saw Jimmy Kahn and Kathy Bates, and I was like, "What parallel universe of misery is this?"
Oh, and the principal from Back to the Future.
Yeah. And even Dick Van Dyke shows up. I'm like, yo, man, the kid's wearing his hat. I'm like, yo, if someone says step in time, I'm done. You know? So I don't know. Carrie, Leo, what did you guys think?
Well, go for it.
No, we were talking about it last night, and Jeremy was like, "Oh, hey," I'm like, maybe it's not going to be as good as I remember, and I don't think I enjoyed it as much this time around, but I still didn't see anything really wrong with it. It was corny at times, but so is the comic, and so it was like staying true to stuff. When I read the comic in my head, though, because I'd started reading that when I was a little one over at my grandparents, I'd read it in their papers, and I have the like when I'm reading the different gangsters, some of the like, especially just the small town thug kind of guys are like, yeah, see, come over here, see, he's got a copper with him, he's talking to tail, and so that was always going on in my head, and they didn't really talk like that in here, but that was kind of how it went. But I always loved it when I was a kid because it was like, and I brought up this example a couple of times when we were talking about it. They write the secret codes to each other from jail in milk with a toothpick from they get it with their meal, and then they write a secret message and send it to somebody and like heat it up. And so my grandma let us do that, and like the lemon juice and pencil trick and all the different things. But it had all the fun gadgets and the things that like when you're little and you can figure things out and the way they do it, it kind of makes sense to you. And it also does have something for the adults to read, like there's an actual plot and stuff, but it kind of had multi layers of fun. And it was a little bit more complicated in the movie, which is good because if you would have taken the straight comic and gone just directly to the movie, it wouldn't have been that great. I was reading a lot when I did we did a bunch of reads on this, by the way, guys. We had like there's so many years of Dick Tracy. It wasn't like we're going to read all of it. We just kind of chose different parts that we wanted to, and reading about the kid's mom and things that like they blackmail her and stuff was really some of the various villains in the comic. That's where I like latched on and kept reading for a while, and that was really cool, I thought. So I mean, it wasn't as good as when I was a kid, but I still enjoyed it.
I appreciated when they killed somebody off. That person was dead. I was like, oh
yeah,
shit, this isn't comic books. No.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing I will say is that learning Danny Elfman did the music for this one as well. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely feeling some Batman vibes. Like,
oh yeah,
like there were some moments where I was just like, is there a crossover between the Shadow and the Batman and Dick Tracy out somewhere? Like, what the hell?
Well, even in the final battle in that gear thing in the bad guy falls down into the gears, that's straight from Joker. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
Leo.
I just wanted to point this out real quick. When I first started reading the comic, like this was wicked dark. It was definitely for shock value. I don't know if you saw this showing telling kids, be careful riding your bikes, and it shows a kid under a car like he got ran over.
Yeah.
Like if you're a kid, like that would scare the crap out of you, but it's no helmets or anything. This is the 30s, so
right.
But yeah,
helmets.
People actually listened.
Yeah. I mean, you're giving information to kids. Yeah, they would actually read that and understand. And it was definitely a tough read for me, as just like the rest of you. It's the comics. It definitely didn't,
they didn't age great.
Yeah,
didn't age right. I mean, you can definitely tell. It's fun thinking back of that time. How people lived in all. And like a lot of this was mainstream, and it's. But just like the detective stories and stuff like that, it didn't catch me. But the movie, on the other hand, I really enjoyed the movie. I haven't seen it in I think the last time I saw it was when I owned it on VHS, and that was probably shortly after it came out. I mean, I remember enjoying it when I was a kid watching it. I was a teenager. But now rewatching it, and catching all the stuff I missed, like Breathless Mahoney, a lot of stuff she said was like borderline like pornographic.
In the beginning, practically get to see her full chest.
Thank you.
I'm
That's
like,
why
hold on,
I was
this
like,
is
I don't
PG.
touch. Yeah, I was like, and it's actually funny you bring that up, Jeremy, because I read something that when they would rehearse, Madonna would frequently flash Al Pacino. Like she would just show, and she would just be completely naked underneath like a long coat. And Pacino said, "Man, when I go senile, I'm just going to enjoy that memory of what I've seen for time to come." And I'm just thinking to myself,
Talk
yeah,
about
that's
grabby
fair.
too. In his scene where he's they're learning the number, like he's like slapping her ass and fucking just grabbing everything. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
This was PG in 1990.
And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is Touchstone, which is technically still Disney. And I was like, and Disney, and that's Madonna's nipples. I was like, I don't know if we're going to see this in any Kingdom of Hearts, but okay.
That would be funny.
Sorry, Friday. I don't see the Twitch comments. That's actually going through a different service. So we're broadcasting this all over the place. So there's a bunch of stuff. Unfortunately, I don't see. I only see the comments from a select few areas. So I
Twitch. Oh man.
Yeah.
But you know, again, it was fun. But I agree with Jar. There were some moments where I was like, oh God. Like, especially it's like I've chosen a name, Dick Tracy Jr. I was like, oh God, kid, go back to school, please.
So I didn't want to go to school.
You know,
I want to wear a suit. That means school. That means the orphanage. I'm not going to the orphanage. Kid, you smell. Go get dressed.
You know, and then I also enjoyed that Dick Tracy had those two lackeys. One of them is very much clearly Irish, and the other one is clearly, I don't know, something else.
Oh, did you see Miles O'Brien in there?
Yeah, I did. I was just like, what the? I was like, I can't. I just can't.
I did it now. This is a holodeck adventure.
Like I said, it just, there is so much there, and it really did have the pulp vibes. And I give credit for Warren Beatty investing so much into this, and it still was one of the highest grossing films of his career.
Well, he still owns the rights to it, right? As well, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Mandy Patinkin. Yeah, he was awesome.
He hasn't really done much afterwards, has he? Like, I was talking to Mom about it, and she was like, yeah, I remember that film, but has he ever actually acted since? Has he done much?
Well, he'll be forever known as fucking up the the Academy Awards or something like that.
What? You confused us all.
I don't watch the Academy Awards, so I don't know. I remember like somebody slapped somebody at one, and
no. This was what was it? Moon something. He opened the wrong envelope and read out the wrong winner.
Nice.
Oh,
good for him.
And it was like the main one. It was like movie of the like.
Oh, best actor.
Best movie. Yeah.
Wow.
Was that so much his fault as the person who is handing him the envelope?
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, he's the one that actually read it, so it was
Oh, it's okay. I mean, we've seen
shifting blame.
We've seen stars make some big mistakes like that. Like, I still don't understand, Travolta calling Idina Menzel Adele Dazeem. I was like, I'm sorry, John. We need to stop the fever. You know, there's no longer a phenomena. No. But
my mom wants us to do that, by the way. So I'm going to have to tell her that we just did.
She wants us to what? She wants us to watch.
No, I was talking to her about how we do different, like we were talking about, we do different parodies about the show, and she's like, and I was like working on one about that. She's like, you're going to do a whole parody where you guys are just like, phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Phenomena. I remember when they did that for Muppets
I could
Tonight.
do this all
Send that
night.
to my mom now.
I remember they did that for Muppets Tonight with Cindy Crawford, and she got really into it to the point where she was just like phenomena. She's just head banging and everything, and Kermit and the puppets are like, the hell? Yeah, it was
awesome.
It was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
And we learned it was cancer the whole time.
Get out.
Bringing it back to phenomena.
Get out.
Yeah, that's what we did. We're listening to Art Bell. Phenomenon.
Get out, Jeremy. Phenomena. Get out, Carrie too. Phenomena. And then there's still Drew trying to say good night, everybody. It's Splash Pages tonight. No, but no, like I said, there's not really much more I can say. Like, I thought, while the comic is very much a product of its time, and unfortunately does not age as well as some comics have, I thought the movie was fairly accurate, beautifully done. I also kind of find it funny. I feel like it's kind of been forgotten, and it's kind of surprising because in terms of comic book adaptations before Marvel and DC owned the market, it was pretty close.
Yeah, so they kept it to 7-color palette through the entire thing, and I love that. The doors match the hat, matches the outfit, matches the booth, in the reds and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Is there anything really more to say?
Really, no.
If you haven't watched it, go out and watch it.
There you go.
It's I think it's on. You can watch it for free, like on Tubi or something like that. Mm-hmm. If you don't own it, obviously,
probably just find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well,
at this point,
there you go.
Yeah, and YouTube might charge you or something.
Screw 'em.
But yeah, but for the most part, I'd say we liked it. It's not a perfect movie, as Jar would want to remind everybody.
Yes,
it has its flaws. It has its
got an ultimate cast. It's got great art, and that it sticks so well to the comic. Those are 3 really good things going for it. If you've never seen it, you owe it to yourself just to see it. So
I agree with that statement. You should see it yourself at least once.
Well, also, if you think of that era, I mean, the comic book movies, we talked about all 3 tonight. Punisher in 89, Batman in 89, and Dick Tracy in 90.
Right. It was still a really unexplored genre.
Totally.
Because a lot of times, a lot of the nerd stuff was really TV, the Incredible Hulk show.
Oh, yeah.
And other things like Spider-Man or all that, where they tried. But my God, we weren't there yet.
No.
Yeah.
No, we were. Did we have Fantastic Four yet?
No, that was 81, 82. Talking about Roger Corman's version, right? Yeah, I think that was the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Because we still weren't there yet either.
No.
God, we really weren't. But yeah, so I feel like that's kind of a nice way to end it. Is the comic, I would say stick to a really more modern retelling if you really want to know Dick Tracy's story. So 90s, early 2000s kind of stuff. If you're a Golden Age enthusiast, you will love original Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
If you are not, boy, that shit's gonna drag.
Yeah.
So, and the movie is, if you've never seen it, give yourself a chance. Just remember, it was financed somewhat by Disney, so it's not going to be, Frank Miller presents Dick Tracy.
And don't sit there trying to see Madonna the whole time.
Yeah,
she did. I thought she did pretty good through it.
Oh no, she did great. Wow, yeah.
I was impressed.
As well as any other person in the movie.
I was just like, man, Dick Tracy's got these two dames fawning over him. I was like, look at this guy.
He could probably care less about the both of them too. He's just like, I want to go solve crime.
Yeah,
exactly. How can I think about romance when Big Boy is still breathing air and committing crime?
Lips Mancini. I
was like, the guy can't even at the end propose to his longtime love.
Right?
The guy, Tess, yeah, you're one in a million. I'm gonna throw you this ring because I can't say you want to marry and live with me because I'm a macho man. Can't you really tell by the yellow suit?
And definitely, listen very carefully to Madonna's character, Breathless Mahoney, because she has some zingers in there that fly right under the radar. Just like I said, it's like borderline pornographic. It's just
let it go, Leo.
It's hilarious,
Oh no, it is.
Wedding over here.
It is, but yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely something you can rewatch. I feel like Jeremy is like, yeah, kids, let's have movie night. Let's watch Dick Tracy. What the fuck is this, Dad?
Oh man.
I feel like Jeremy, you would be cut off from movie choices for a while. I was like, Dad, do you remember the Dick Tracy thing? You're cut off.
Oh, they know every time that they're going to sit down and watch a movie with me that it could end up being a real stinker, or it could just be really like I want to sit them down to watch Cool Hand Luke, but I don't know if they can handle black and white.
No.
I just have to say I rented out when I was a kid thinking it was going to have Luke Skywalker in it.
Cool.
Okay, Leo, you're adorable when you weren't cutting snakes' heads off, okay? So that's all I'm going to say to you. So, Leo, with that note, do you want to sign us off?
Oh, yeah. So Raz says Drew would not survive on Tomb, LOL.
It's Tomb of the Terrible, one of our shows where we watch horrible horror movies.
Excuse me. Actually, no, Mr. Raz, if you please. I would thrive amazingly because what I would do is take your review and it would turn into a different version of Mystery Science Theater 3000 because I would go ham. Okay, I would go ham with some crackers on that shit. So, Q. I love you, Q, though. Leo, sign us off because I'm not taking any more of this.
I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You know me, just Google me. You'll find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. I'm not going to say which is which, but I run the Dorkening Podcast Network. There's a ton of awesome people doing a lot of awesome stuff. So head on over to thedorkening.com. You can learn more there. And we'll kick it off with Jar Jar.
Hey, it's the end of the show. We got to go. Check out this show every Tuesday at 8. Friend me on Facebook, Jeremy Courtney. Comic book lovers, buy, sell, trade, and auction house is a great place to go buy, sell, and trade all your wonderful nerd stuff. And the re-education of Nancy Ann Ritter. Check it out. Do it wherever you can find a podcast. It's there.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Carrie. Hey everybody. You can find me at Carrie Sanders on Facebook. Spelled like that. If you see a crow, that's me. Myself and Ratatosker are not only on splash pages here on The Dorkening, we are also over at the Owlite Network, where we do a lot of different storytelling shows. We're on every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, doing some sort of storytelling thing, whether we're interviewing somebody or just having a group of people sit around and tell stories. We do that. We do the Tomb of the Terrible that we were just talking about on Monday nights and random other fun things that we have coming up in the next season. So catch me here, catch me there, catch me wherever. Read my stuff. I actually write things. I'm published. You can find everything around there. So
very cool, Mr. Drew.
That's it, folks.
You guys know everything that's already about me. I'm Drew. I'm here on Tuesday. You can look at the bottom of the screen if you want to hit me up on Instagram, because they will remind you every time of what my name is. I'm here. I'm there. I'm really busy working on stuff. So if it takes me a minute to get back to you, it's not you. It's really me, as in, wait your goddamn turn. Love you all. Bye.
Well, it's time to face the music and hit the lights. See you later.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
We just said the news today. Oh boy.
Wow, it only took us almost an hour. I mean, what?